Now I want to check on something because I can see something very interesting here on YouTube. And what of Wukong? What's going on with Wukong? Like what's the latest news about Wukong? Is it best game? Is it like what's the news for Wukong? I want to go and search for that straight away right now. By the way, Ziki, do you not have Wukong? Black Myth Wukong is blowing up internet, man. 3 million concurrent reoccurring players. Oh my god. On Steam, the highest single players game for now. How is that? Is the music too loud or my voice is okay with it? I think the music is too loud, isn't it? What about now? Yeah, I think it's better now. We need to talk about Black Myth Wukong. A video by Force Gaming. We need to talk about Black Myth Wukong 5 days ago. Let's check that out, shall we? The GGM mode is not mine, mind you. It's from a streamer called A Real Life Spartan. Very good one, man. Very good one. Can we copyright his work? I'm kidding. Okay, let's get straight to this. I want to check out on what's the news. What's the current news on Wukong right now? What I know is that the game is crazy good, ladies and gents. Oh my god, it's fucking crazy good. Not gonna sugarcoat it. It's just super goddamn cool. What's this about? Very graphic intensive. It is though. Yeah. But what GPU are you using? I think I thought you have like a good GPU. I mean, like Halo Infinite, you can handle Halo Infinite. I bet you can handle this game too. 4060 GPU, and you're still talking about very intensive graphics. You definitely can run it. You definitely can run it
this week, and whoa boy, has it been a ride!
All right, what's it about?
Came out swinging, already breaking records, reaching a peak concurrent count of 2.3 million players on Steam, and in the process dethroning Dota.
2.3 million players. It's a million players, dudes. Come on.
2 Lost Ark, Counter-Strike, and
beating Lost Ark,
and Power World. It now sits
Counter-Strike
in second place.
And Power World. Oh my god, look at that. Holy heck, look at that. Look at that. If a single player beat a multiplayer games, that speaks for itself, how good the game is. As simple as that. If a single player beat a goddamn multiplayer game globally, that's just mind-blowing things. Not gonna lie, that's just what it is. I'm hyped for the game, but I don't think I'll get it anytime soon. Well, of course, financial, it's not really stable right now because I got my wife to look after, you know, and she's such a very cute wife that I cannot allow myself to keep my money from her. Because I love her, and she's so beautiful, you know? And perhaps after all this saying, she might buy me Wukong. It beats Elden Ring, I guess, but hey, I'm not one to judge. It beats Elden Ring. It is. It does. The player's number, the play counts, the recurring player count beat Elden Ring. But to be fair, Elden Ring is quite old now. It's like a few years back now. Yeah, a few years past now. So it's not really a good game to compare it to, you know what I mean? But yeah, it does beat Elden Ring player counts as of right now.
For the highest concurrent player count of all time, behind only PUBG.
Of all time, he did say of all time. So yeah, it does beat Elden Ring and fair and square. It beat Elden Ring fair and square because it's all time pick. It's all time. So that means like in the entire history of a goddamn Steam, this motherfucker from China just freaking beat Elden Ring from Japan. You know what I mean? That's crazy. That's That's crazy, bro.
PUBG. So yes, the game is very popular, and not only are there millions of people playing, most of them seem to really like it as well. Steam user reviews are overwhelmingly positive, with a whopping 96% rating.
96% rating, positive rating on Steam. Holy heck, 100,000 plus user reviews for this game are positive. God dang, what the heck?
Which is quite high. To put it in perspective, of the top 20 most played games on Steam, there are only 5 other games that have a rating over 90%, those being Elden Ring, Palworld, Valheim, Baldur's Gate 3, and Terraria, and now Black Myth Wukong making it the 6th. Now, obviously, the game just came out, there's a lot of positive early reviews, and this review score could change over time, but man, with the high concurrent player count and the high review rating, the game is certainly off to a good start, and it's
the current rate right now, when I went and watch other streamers playing this game, like all of them love it. There are some challenges, but it's not as punishing as Souls-like, so it's really a game for anyone. As a matter of fact, I bet my wife can actually beat this game as well, because it's not as punishing as Souls-like, and I think it's more towards a God of War kind of game, so anyone can play it, anyone can beat it, anyone can have fun with it. So that's another reason why it's really at the top right now, because way better than Elden Ring right now, because of the fact that it gives access to everyone. And that's actually a smart strategy from Game Science. Game Science, the studio of this game. Like, what in the world? Like, how did they have the imaginations to combine Souls-like, one of the Souls-like mechanic with a God of War mechanics? And that's just smart. That's just a brilliant idea from whoever that one guy in a meeting room said, "Boss, I got an idea. Why don't we combine Souls-like mechanic and God of War?" And they got Wukong. Definitely go on.
It's done this in spite of all the pre-release discourse around Black Myth Wukong's development studio and their oddly specific restrictions for streamers who were given codes, which included not discussing China, feminism, or COVID. Yeah, that went over super well, as you would expect. But despite all of that, we have got the second most popular Steam game ever and overwhelmingly positive reviews. So yesterday, I spent the entire day playing Black Myth Wukong for myself, and I can tell you, I get it. This game is actually quite good, or to put it precisely, it's just plain old simple fun with good gameplay. It's relatively polished, and on top of that, has no BS monetization. This is being the rare trifecta of success in the games industry nowadays. So I want to tell you a bit about the game, starting with a basic overview and then my thoughts and impressions from what I've seen so far. Now, if you didn't know, Black Myth Wukong is a fairly linear action-adventure boss rush game that tells the mythological Chinese tale of Journey to the West. You play as the Destined One, traversing the lands, meeting intriguing characters, and eliminating any foes in your path, of which there are plenty. Combat amounts to alternating combos of light and heavy attacks, with stances mixing up your moveset and potential, along with a range of abilities that you unlock as you play. The first skill that you get is this incredibly useful freeze that immobilizes any enemy, including bosses, for a few seconds, letting you chip away at their health. As for defense, it is mostly all about dodging, with perfectly timed evades being heavily rewarded. You eventually also unlock a parry in the form of this stone form ability, giving you another defensive option, but there is no blocking. Really, you're just dodging all incoming attacks.
That's parry.
And then beyond your basic attacks and the handful of skills that you got, there are the transformations. Now, initially, you can turn into this pole arm wielding wolf, dishing out loads of fire damage until either his health or energy meter depletes and you transform back. And then you also have these spirits of rare enemies that you capture that can be bound to you and summoned periodically. These will have some sort of a passive effect, increasing either offensive, defensive, or your utility, along with this active ability where you temporarily, for a brief second, transform into the creature and do some specifically unique variety of attack for that spirit. And with all of these tools in place, what you're doing is moving through these mostly linear environments, taking on groups of basic enemies and bosses, lots and lots of bosses. But before I go into further detail, let me tell you about the boss of today's video. Today's video is sponsored by Guild Wars 2, a free-to-jan weapon. Well, there's now a land version coupled with its own unique skills for every class.
Wait, that's a new class? That's a good one.
Housing
I never knew that. I need to check back Guild of War 2. I need to check it back, go back to that game and probably stream it.
On the easier side, as I have one-shot most of the small and medium bosses, but the larger, more major fights, those kind of ramp the challenge up a little bit more, and those have taken me a few attempts in some instances. I think what I've liked the most about it, though, is just all of the variety. I think with one exception, I have not actually seen a repeated boss type, and even the one repeat I did see had a lot that was different about it as well. Playing for about 10 hours yesterday, I have come across 25 of...
All right, another thing that we really need to put in mind here, that the fact that this game got a high praise on having a lot of varieties of enemies. There are just lots of them which are different from one another. And this guy just explained it. This guy just showed us that they got a lot of boss, and most bosses, all of them, as a matter of fact, have their own thing and actually feels different from one another. And that's just, I don't want to say it, but I gotta say it. It's a little bit slap on the face for Elden Ring. 100%. All right, Elden Ring is a good game. Everybody can just say hands down it's a good game, but I swear to God, the amount of recycle enemy in that game is just a lot. All right, a lot. So it's actually a good thing that Wukong actually have a lot varieties of enemies, and it actually differ from one another. It's crazy. It's crazy good. I like it. I like it a lot. Yeah, I'm thinking to, I want to play it. God dang, but I do not have the money yet. Gotta wait for that moment, man. Gotta wait for that moment. Be patient, Knighttime. You got this. Be patient. All right.
The game's 90 total bosses, and everyone that I've seen, once again, has been unique. Unique not only in how they look, but also in their movesets, in their phases, their abilities, just everything about them. We've got 90 bosses in this game. I've seen 25 of them so far, and already I've been pretty impressed with what I have seen. So basically, the gist of the game is you're using this action combat, you're moving through what are mostly linear levels with branching sections, and it branches further and gets more interconnected as you move from the first to second chapter. You're fighting basic enemies, you're collecting resources as well as items that are hidden in the environment, and you are constantly engaging in boss fights.
Oh, that's so cool. I like this enemy design. This tiger guy, man,
your character and
he looks
power
very
progression.
good.
And there's a lot of this. For one, as you level up, you gain sparks. You can also find these at certain points in the world, and these are used to improve just about everything for your character. What essentially amounts to a skill tree is broken up into 6 main categories with further subsections in
6 main categories. That's a lot. That's a lot to level up.
These include your stamina, your martial arts, which is your basic combat, as well as your survival.
The new game plus in this game is gonna rout the heck out of anyone that just finished the game.
Like, spell schools: mysticism, alteration, and strand, and then there are your transformations.
Are you planning? Are you still here, Zico? Are you planning to get this game?
Improvements. Some of these categories have over 100 different individual improvements that you can invest in, and broadly speaking, these will do things like granting a variety of passive boost, allowing you to unlock new abilities and combos, and just opening up your potential moveset, adding more variety to the combat, but then also enhancing the things that you have as a baseline. Just everything across the board is about making you stronger, and then mostly what you're doing is deciding how and what you want to prioritize. If you want to be more defensive, if you want to be more offensive, if you want to focus on stamina or health, if you want to boost your crit, if you want to focus on a specific school of basically those staff stances or like schools of combat of martial arts. Do you want to focus on one of them? Do you want to spread them out amongst the 3 stances? It's really up to you, and the game lets you actually freely respec whenever you want. So
that's awesome. You can respec freely. You can respec freely. This is good.
As many times as you want, from what I can see, respec and try out new builds as you keep playing. But that is just the spark system and the skill tree. There is a lot more to progression and improvement. So as you move through the chapters, you also unlock what are called relics that grant boost. Completing the very first chapter gives you the Craving Eyes. This has 3 options to pick from. I went with the increased critical strike damage. There's also armor sets and weapon upgrades. You unlock these by defeating bosses and progressing through the story. differently. They will cost materials and some currency to craft, and then you can equip them.
That's
and everything
awesome.
comes with its own unique perks. In fact, gear pieces can have individual boost per piece of gear, along with also having
that's so
set
cool.
bonuses, and all of this will be for tailoring to different play styles or for enhancing certain abilities. There are weapon
Well, I think
upgrades
this
that
is
will come
where
with
I
their
think this
own-
is where the God of War element swoops in. It just kind of seems like God of War gear system here. It's fairly simple yet addicting, I guess. I don't know. I've never actually played God of War, but man, I bet it's going to be good. It's going to be good.
bonus effects on top of the further upgrades dealing more damage or adding more crits. There's other equipment, which includes these curios, just think charms with their own unique effects. There's also a spot for selecting the spirit of your choice from the ones that you've captured. These spirits can also be leveled up. If you have one that you really like using, you can make it more powerful,
So
make it cost less resource.
So you can power up your transformations technically. You can transform into that spirit, right? And then you just kind of like power up your transformation like Spirit of Ashes. Instead of Spirit of Ashes in Elden Ring, it's actually you controlling that monster. So that's actually quite interesting.
And then there's another spot for what are called vessels, the one that I've unlocked thus far.
Hey, Fantastic Zemo, I love your stream. Would you mind adding me up on Discord? Tell me your stream schedule so that I can watch whenever you are live. My Discord username is here. Why don't you try Highland Word? Highland Word, welcome to Kickstream. I would like to know that's just too fast of requesting Discord, not gonna lie. So reply to me if you're not a bot. Simple as that. Okay, let's go.
Far gives me like a fire debuff resistance. The game also has a bunch of different consumables. You will craft or find these, and they'll grant increased defenses, resistances, or offense, like increasing your damage, crit, or whatever. You also have this healing ability that refills anytime you rest at a shrine. It is called the Gourd. You start off with the coconut wine.
That's the Souls-like element in it. They got like healing item that will restore as you rest,
which will heal you for 33% of your health whenever you use it. But then later on you find more, like the Lamb Brew, which heals you for a flat 20%, but then an additional 25% heal over time. And these can be upgraded as you progress, granting more uses or better healing. And then there's also a slot within those for what are called soaks, giving you additional benefits for whatever particular gourd that you're using. So this can increase your resistances, add damage reduction, have you gain more health when you use it, or make
Thank you, like physic mix in Elden Ring.
Things like certain spells free to cast for a duration. They also make use of a key system where as you're progressing, you'll come across locked areas, and then you will have to find the keys, usually via defeating a boss, to...
I can already imagine that this game gonna be addicting. I mean, addictive. 100%. Like, it's gonna be addictive.
Allow you to progress past that previously locked area. So that is the basic overview. That's like the general gist of Black Myth Wukong.
That's awesome.
You move through these levels, you fight basic enemies, you collect stuff, you fight bosses. There are some branching paths, there's a bit of exploration, there are locked gates which you have to find the keys through, and that's how the game works. That's the general kind of flow of the game. I've seen it compared to Nioh. It reminds me a lot of God of War.
No, I don't think it's the same as Nioh as well. I don't think it's the same as any Souls-like game, as a matter of fact. Seeing how they play, how any streamers play this game, I realize that it's more like a hack and slash style game, or more like God of War type of games, but you do need to dodge. There are challenges, and that challenge is going to be the game can be pretty challenging. That's one fact, but it's not punishing as much as a Souls-like game or any Dark Souls game, any Elden Ring game, Sekiro. It's not going to be as near as punishing as that, which means you still can go through the game and have a clear thought of how to beat the boss instead of thinking about how many times I've lost and how many freaking goddamn souls that I've lost. So I think for the sake of playing a lot of goddamn Souls-like game, this is actually a good idea. And this game can be a very cool game for any Souls-like players, 100%.
The only kind of Souls-like reference is the fact that there are shrines that sort of work like bonfires. You can fast travel to them. You do some of your progression and upgrading there. And then also, whenever you rest, refilling your health and your mana and your stamina, it also respawns enemies. But that's really the only Souls-like equivalent that the game has, because the combat is kind of just much more like a modern-day action game, a la God of War, or again, I see Neo referenced quite a lot, but I haven't played Neo yet. So yeah, that's the overview.
Nope. Not Neo. Not Neo. Not the same as Neo at all. I don't think so. Neo is goddamn African hard game.
About my thoughts. Well, I gotta say, just right baseline, I am quite impressed with the game so far, and I've only played it for a day. I can absolutely, though, see why it's doing so well. So for starters, the production value is very, very high. So it looks fantastic visually. This is a gorgeous game. The first chapter alone really hooked me, traversing these winding paths through this kind of darker, heavily forested mountainside region. That setting alone I love, but it was just made all the better with how good it looks. Just like everything about the visuals, the lighting, the effects, the fidelity of it all. It's a very pretty looking game. And then also the enemy and character design I think is great, from the destined one who you are playing to all of the enemies and bosses you encounter. I just think they did a good job here. They really delivered a kind of this interesting presentation of these creatures.
So I gotta say, I have to say the fact that the game does go downgrading in graphics. From the last demo that I posted or they uploaded, there are noticeable differences. There are noticeable downgrading in terms of the graphics. But hey, I mean, like, demo, they need to present the best they can. But when they release it, they release it as a retail version. They gotta make sure that it can be played, you know. And not everyone have a goddamn explosive GPU or CPU. So definitely they optimize the game. They make sure that everyone and most of us players can actually have a taste of it. So I don't think anyone care about the downgrading. You know, it's not so much, as a matter of fact. Just I think most that they actually downgraded is the bloom, you know, of the game. I don't know if that's the right term or not. I'm not a graphic guy, but yeah, it's something to do with the hair, you know, hair plan, something to do with that. At least they downgraded that. At least those are what are noticeable to what they downgraded.
I mean, not only their look, but like the outfits they're wearing, the stuff that you're wearing, your armor sets and weapons, just all of the design to the characters and the setting. It's all really well done. I would say as well, along those same lines, it's just nice to get this sort of relatively novel setting and story. While we have seen a handful of successful games in Eastern settings in recent years, we get so few of them that really lean heavily into the mythological and popular.
It is just... I'm not sure whether he actually referenced Eastern as in... Yeah, never mind. Continue on.
Folklore of the region.
What's up, my man? How you doing? Hi, Capital Lays. Welcome to the stream. I'm great. I'm good. Feeling awesome right now.
Need to play through this world and see these mythological.
You need to get this game, my man. I don't care what you say. I don't care what you say. Liz, if it's not your type of game, you gotta try it. It looks very fantastic. But man, listen. Before you actually reject my saying, just understand one thing, Liz. This game exploded. This game blew up the internet. As of right now, it got 3 million, almost 3 million reoccurring all-time peak players. Goddamn 3 millions. 2 million now, actually. 2 million. I will not exaggerate things. So, yeah, 2 African million players. And it's the highest single-player game on Steam all time. Now, that's saying itself, isn't it? The game is really good. Like goddamn, son, Wukong is good. The gameplay is fun. I think you need to get your hand on this game, man. I think you should stream it. I think you should at least try to play it for a while, for like the first chapter. And if you don't like it, just refund it, because you can refund on Steam, you know what I mean? But man, just try it out, man. It's a chef kiss. I know, I've been eyeing it. Yeah, exactly, Lace. Exactly. That's what I'm talking about. Like, even if you don't like it, try to buy it, you know, but try to play a bit of it. Okay, make sure you don't play too long because there's like time limit if you want to refund it. But play it for a while, get a feels on it, you know, if you don't like it, and just refund the game. As simple as that. No one's hurt. I think you can actually refund the game if you don't like the games. Yo, bro, Rewatch, welcome to the stream. How are you, my man? Is everything doing great? Welcome to the stream. Welcome to the stream.
Pretty impressed with the performance. I would say about 95% of the time the game would run flawlessly for me at 144
very good,
frames per
positive.
second at a
Very
2K
very
resolution.
positive
Although I
review
will
here
add
from
there
this
were
guy.
a handful of moments in my playthrough with substantial issues. There were a few sections as I was playing where I would see the frame rate drop from like 144 down to 20 all of a sudden. Now in those instances this would last anywhere from like 10 to 15 seconds before smoothing out again. I'm not sure if it was an issue with shaders or if the game was loading in new areas while I was running around. I have heard that there have been some potential conflicts and issues with Intel CPUs, so maybe that's what was going on. Frankly, I don't know.
There are some problems with Intel CPU, all right? Note it. Take note of that. 50 seconds is a long time. I'm not going to defend that part of the game. Like 15 seconds of frame drop, that's a long time, man. That's not good, definitely. But he did say it didn't happen all the time. So it only happened on, it's quite not, it didn't happen all the time. That's what his point is. So still, I hope the developer can actually fix that, because 15 seconds frame drop is crazy. That sucks.
Exactly, but again, mostly at least 95, it's probably closer to 99% of the total playtime. It ran amazingly, flawlessly.
He just said 99% of the time, so which means the issue with the frame drop actually quite rare. So yeah, it definitely a very bad thing that this game have a frame drop issues, especially when it goes around 10 to 15 seconds. That's a long time for frame drop. But like he said, 99% of the time the games run smoothly. The game runs amazingly. So I guess that's a cool one. What is going on? We're looking at a review of Wukong right now. He's talking about Wukong from Force Gaming. We just reacted on it, and I want to watch it. It's about Wukong, the internet boom right now, like the amazing explosion with Wukong on the internet. Like it's crazy. That game crazy. Got 2 million players right now as we speak, which is crazy. The highest grossing numbers for recurring players as well throughout Steam history. So that's crazy.
But with those few noticeable exceptions.
Welcome to the stream,
Watch.
Welcome to the
stream.
stream.
The whole thing is very polished. It's just crisp and clean across the board. The animations of the movement, attacks, the spells, the enemies. There's all sorts of little flourishes, like how your character spins his staff.
How are you,
or
Lace?
jumps
How
over
are
the
you,
terrain
Lace?
Or moves in the environment. The environment itself, the lighting and the sounds. There's just like across the board, there's a high degree of polish and a real lack of jank in this game. I couldn't believe just how well it played and how good it looked and how polished everything was. It just feels like a very complete and well done game. And then
Such
finally,
the
combat. It's simple, but it's quite fun. Boss variety, as I mentioned earlier, has been nice, even though I've only seen 25 of the 90 bosses. They've all been varied.
Rewatch, you know about Wukong Rewatch?
And while I think the game might be a tad on the easier side overall, I would say that there's still enough challenge to make most of the more challenging fights feel satisfying. And even some of the basic encounters, like if you're not paying proper attention, you can quickly lose an encounter and then find yourself resurrecting back at one of the shrines. And all that is well and good, but I really think the cherry on top here is that this is just a plain old no BS game. It's a single player title with roughly 25 to 50 hours of content, depending on how completionist you want to be. I guess it's 25 for a straight.
Yes, Rewatch. Yes, you got that right. The first trending. And another fun explosion fact here is the fact that this game is the highest all-time peak numbers of players. So which means he beats all the games before him. This game beat Elden Ring numbers. This game beats a lot of other games before it. So it's like it's breaking the record. This game literally just broke the record on Steam. The highest single players numbers ever. That's crazy.
Simple playthrough, but 50 if you're going to be collecting and picking up a lot of the side stuff. And it's got an upfront box price, and that's all. There is no in-game store, there are no premium currencies, no FOMO microtransactions, and no battle passes. You just buy the game.
Abby, welcome to the stream. Thanks for the lurk. I appreciate it. I appreciate it 100%. I love you, Abby. I love you. How are you doing, Abby?
And that coupled with everything else that I mentioned, with it being a great looking game, a cool and novel setting, good performance, and the fact that it's fun to play, and that it's all polished and feels like just a finished product, like I'm paying for something that was fully realized and done when I got my hands on it.
Yeah, one thing about modern gaming now is that a lot of the developers tend to release the game unfinished, you know? I mean, that's what we all get most of the time. Diablo 4 unfinished. What is unfinished? When we talk about unfinished game, we're talking about the unpolished element that goes into the game, and they still release it even though they know it's not that polished. Some of the glitch, more bugs, lots of it, you know, in certain games. That is what unfinished game is, and we often get that type of games because it's modern days. It's internet now. People can just release it first, you buy first, and then we fix later kind of thing, you know? But Wukong did something different. Wukong actually released a good polished game, all right? Kind of like what From Software did. From Software actually released a good game. So GameSci actually did that with Wukong, and it's a rare thing now. Like whenever game actually release finish, you know, that's when you know the game is going to be good. 100%.
Absolutely.
Do you know Devil May Cry or Metal Gear franchise? I do know Metal Gear. I do know Devil May Cry. Yep, I played. I grew up playing Devil May Cry. Devil May Cry 1, Devil May Cry 2, Devil May Cry 3. A little bit of Devil May Cry 4. Didn't finish it, unfortunately. Try DMC. Not like I don't like it that much. And unfortunately, the only Devil May Cry game that I haven't got my hands on is Devil May Cry 5, the latest one. I'll try my best to get my hands on it, but those games are rock. Metal Gear, unfortunately, I know and I'm aware of that franchise, but I never actually play any of it.
Why the game is doing so insanely well. 2.3 million concurrent players, nearly 200,000 overwhelmingly positive reviews with a 96% rating. That is crazy. Now, unsurprisingly, a big part of the game's success comes from its popularity in China, where it looks to be getting loads of play. That is unsurprising because, well, like I said, from what I've seen so far, it looks like a genuinely solid game, and the game is based on
the myth. The game is based on the myth, the popular classic traditional myth of Sun Wukong. And globally, it's not just from China to US, I mean to Western as well. This myth goes far around the world. And no one ever tapped into a AAA-ish game for Wukong yet. So Game Science literally did one of the things that no one ever dared to do, or maybe never think about doing it. And because of they are the first, they are like the pioneer of Sun Wukong AAA-ish games, they got the chance to become this popular because it's something that never happened. And Wukong happens to be a very, very well done, very, very good myth, very, very good stories. So that's why they're super popular right now.
On a beloved story from Chinese mythology. So yes, it makes sense that it's doing well over there. But in the discussions about this, I've seen people using its popularity in China almost as a way to write off the game's success, to write off its high player count and its positive ratings, as if the Chinese players don't count. But also, I think we should keep in mind plenty of other of the most successful games, of massively popular games, had a lot of their success due in part to their popularity in China as well. This isn't the first game to be popular in China that was just popular overall. And really my take.
So he's talking about like some other game also got a popularity from China as well. And that's kind of like general things, you know? So it's not because of the Chinese people or Chinese people, most of them actually, majority of them actually bought Wukong and make this game popular. It's not that. It's not because of Chinese people make it popular. The fact that everyone likes the game. So it's popular not because of the Chinese people that bought it. Obviously, a lot of Chinese people actually bought it, but it's not because of them that this game is popular. It's globally popular.
take on this situation and this game in general is that yes, it does seem to be a game that is clearly massively popular in China, but also one that has global appeal because it's a good game. Like, it may be more popular in terms of the raw player numbers than it is in the West over there, but that doesn't make it not popular here. And from what I've seen, from what I've played, I do think Black Myth Wukong is a pretty good game. Now, this isn't a full-on review. I haven't finished the game, and there are some gripes and complaints, you know, for as flawlessly as it ran most of the time. Those times when it did have issues, that sucked. It wasn't great. I like it to be smooth the entire time that I'm playing.
Damn, this is good. This is good, guys. I wish I can get my hands on it, man.